Peace, peace, move to God. Peace, fam. Peace, Shannon. My V, peace, peace. I'm just waiting for a few more people before we start. Getting into the topic, spiritual gatekeepers. And exactly what is it? Things of that nature. Peace, Andre. Yeah, I wasn't able to go. Something came up last minute I had to handle, so I'll try for next month. Thank you, Andre. For those who caught the video that I put up last night dealing with the altars, the video was put out there for a reason. That reason is sometime during this week, I'm going to start demonstrating some left-hand path rituals. And the first ritual I'm going to do is Kali, a Kali ritual. So look out for that video during the week. I'm going to demonstrate exactly some procedures and some ways to do a left-hand path ritual, as opposed to traditional rituals and things of that nature. I am going to show people, especially for those who are unable to make it to the rituals in South Florida all the time. This is just a little example. So look out for that during some time this week. Once again, that video will be a Kali ritual. So that's what I'm start show on some of these videos that when I don't do live classes, when I record the classes or lectures, I'm going to show step-by-step procedures on working a left-hand path ritual. I'm gonna, like I said, start with Kali, and I'm gonna start with the oils that you use to either consecrate a tool, emblem, or the statue itself. I'm going to go into the different directions and what we'll be saying or calling on in these different directions, north, south, east, west, the different elements, things of that nature, but as it pertains to you as an individual on the left-hand path. So that's one of the focuses that I am focusing on going forth. All right, so it looks like we have enough people here. Let me just warn you. I'm going to give you a warning today. Tonight's topic, whatever the hell, because time shifted, so we're in darkness already. So tonight's topic will be a little controversial. It may make you feel uncomfortable, but remember, the left-hand path is a path of challenging yourself. It's a path of getting past your borders and boundaries and self-imposed limitations, or family-imposed limitations, or society-imposed limitations. So if it gets a little controversial, hold your questions to the end, because it's going to rattle some feathers and some of our views on what we consider to be normal, not normal, things of that nature. So just, like I said, hold your questions towards the end and we'll roll from there. Peace, beautiful dark goddess. Peace, peace. All right, so let's begin. Spiritual gatekeepers. All right, it's going to get a little controversial. This is coming from Patrice Malidomasome, who's from the Dagara tribe, which is north of Ghana, a tribe in Burkina Faso, east of Nigeria, north of Ghana. He's gone through many initiations and rituals, but there was a time where he was actually taken away from his tribe and his people and raised in a European school in the middle of Burkina Faso. And he left that because he felt unwanted. He felt distant because most of the students in his mind were trying to leave the African aspect of themselves in the past and adapt European ways, and he felt foreign to that. So when he came back home, eventually they put him through a ritual and initiation, and from there, in his book of Water and the Spirit, if you don't have that book, get it. It's a very informative book. I've read that book plenty of times because there were certain things in that book that allowed me to get a greater understanding of some of the spiritual work and things that I've gone through and seen myself. So on that note, guardians of the gates, all right? Spiritual gatekeepers. This is an interview done with Patrice Malidomasome. So here we go. If it ruffles your feathers, hold on tight, open your minds, and let go of these Western-minded crap that we've been given. Bert, the interviewer's name is Bert. At Conflict Hour, he told us that your culture honors gays, bisexuals, lesbians, etc., as having a high vibrational level that enable them to be guardians of the gateways to the spirit world. You suggested that our Western view limits itself by focusing only on their sexual role. Can you elaborate for our readers? Now it's going to get intense here. I don't know how to put it in terms that are clear enough for an audience that I think needs as much understanding of this gender issue as people in this country do. But at least among the Dagara people, gender has very little to do with anatomy. It is purely energetic. In that context, a male who is physically male can vibrate female energy and vice versa. That is where the real gender is. Anatomic differences are simply there to determine who contributes what for the continuity of the tribe. It does not mean necessarily that there is a kind of line that divides people on that basis. And this is something that also touches on what has become known here in the West as either gay, homosexual, bisexual, lesbian, etc., etc. Again, in the culture that I come from, this is not the issue. These people are looked on essentially as people. The whole notion of gay does not exist in the indigenous world. This is very important to understand. I can't remember the dude's name last night, but there was a dude who did a live lecture on YouTube talking about how the conscious community is basically a plague to the melanated or black people. And a lot of the things he touched on, I agreed upon. And one of those things is this. The conscious community fights so hard to be so African, but yet they're more distant from African culture than they really think. And let me explain what I mean by that. They rail on everything and anything that's not black, and even rail against their own people that are black. They'll rail on gay, they'll rail on homosexual, they'll go off on this issue, that topic, etc., etc. But in the indigenous world, those things did not exist. They'll tell you in the conscious community that homosexuality is a European or Caucasian thing. Wrong. The brother right here, Patrice Malido Masome, who is in fact initiating his tribe, who is in fact one of the elders of his tribe now. Okay, this is also the sentiments are also reiterated by Credo Mutua, okay, of the Zulu tribe, and other tribes across the world have this same notion. It's only this Western mind that we continuously say we're not like Caucasian, so this is we're anti-homosexual, anti-everything, but that really is a Caucasian phenomenon because Caucasians a lot of times in certain parts of the culture had trouble accepting that. But in the indigenous tribes around the world, this was something that was accepted readily and wholeheartedly by most people in their tribes and across the continent of Africa and different places. It's only when the Western view started infiltrating the culture of the people in those areas that it started to take a malevolent or negative view. Okay? So, he says, again, the culture that I come from, this is not the issue. These people are looked on essentially as people. The whole notion of gay does not exist in the indigenous world. That does not mean there are not people there who feel the way that certain people feel in this culture. So there is people who feel like that, like they feel here. But that has led them to being referred to as gay. Okay, the reason why I'm saying there are no such people is because the gay person is very well integrated into the community with the functions that delete this whole sexual differentiation of him or her. The gay person is looked primarily as a gatekeeper. The earth is looked at from my tribal perspective as a very, very delicate machine or consciousness with high vibrational points which certain people must be guardians of in order for the tribe to keep its continuity with the gods, the spirits, etc., etc. Spirits of this world and spirits of the other worlds. Any person who is at this link between this world and the other world experiences a state of vibrational consciousness which is far higher and far different from the one that a normal person would experience. This is what makes a gay person gay. The kind of function is not the one that society votes for certain people to fulfill. It is one that people are said to decide on prior to being born. You decide that you will be a gatekeeper before you are born, and it is that decision that provides you with the equipment that you bring into this world. So when you arrive here, you begin to vibrate in a way that elders can detect as meaning that you are connected with a gateway somewhere. Then they watch you grow, and they watch you act and react, and sooner or later they will follow you to the gateway that you are connected with. Now, gay people have children because they're fertile, just like normal people. How I got to know that they were gay was because on arriving in this country and seeing the serious issues surrounding gay people, I began to wonder, it does not exist in my own country. When I asked one of them who had taken me to the threshold of the other world, whether he feels sexual attraction towards another man, he jumped back and said, "How do you know that?" He said, "This is our business as gatekeepers." And yet he had a wife and children, no problem, you see? So to then limit gay people to simple sexual orientation is really the worst harm that could be done to a person. That all he or she is a sexual person, and personally, because of the fact that my knowledge of indigenous medicine ritual comes from gatekeepers, it's hard for me to take this position that gay people are the negative breed of a society. No, in a society that's profoundly dysfunctional, what happens is that people's life purposes are taken away, and what is left is this kind of sexual orientation, which in turn is disturbing to the very society that created it. I think this, again, victimization by a Christian establishment that is looking at a gay person as a disempowered person, a person who has lost his job from birth onward, and now society just wants to fire him out of life. This is not cool, all right? It's not justice. It's a terrible harm done to an energy that could save the world, that could save us or help us. If today we are suffering from a gradual ecological waste, this is simply because the gatekeepers have been fired from their job. They have been fired. They have nothing to do. And because they have been fired, we accuse them for not doing anything. This is not fair. Let's look at Earth differently, and we will find out gradually that these people are not that these people that are bothering us today are going to start taking their post. They know what their job is. You just have to get near them to feel they don't vibrate the same way. They are not of this world. They come from the other world, and they were sent here to keep the gates open to the other world, because if the gates shut, this is when the earth, Mother Earth, will shake, because it has no more reason to be alive. It will shake itself, and we will be in deep trouble. Christianity, Bert says, Christianity has separated spirit from body and spirit from earth. And earlier you talked to us about Christianity suppressing your culture. So there's a suggestion here that suppression of homosexuality will be the way for the Christians to shut down the gateways, shut down the spirit, and shut down our connection with the earth. Yes, that's right. Christianity stresses postponing living on earth as if we are only here to pack our baggage and prepare for a life somewhere else out there. Jesus is right here, man, according to their own teaching. And you start with the gatekeepers. You take the gatekeeper and you confuse his or her mind. You threaten them and you throw them in the middle of nowhere. Then nobody knows where the gate is. As soon as you lose the whereabouts of the gate, then you have a culture going downhill. What keeps a village together is a handful of these gatekeepers, as they call them in the modern world, gay or lesbian. In my village, lesbians are called witches. And gay men are known as the gatekeepers. These are the two only known secret societies. These are the only groups that will get together as a separate group and go into the woods secretly to do whatever they do. And if they find you during their yearly symposium, they have the right to kill you. Unless they go out on their yearly symposium, the village cannot be granted another year of life. They have to go out to do what they do in order for the village to feel safe enough for the next coming year. Bert says, so our culture may not be granted another year of life. That's right. Every year it feels like the number of years that this culture is entitled to live is getting smaller. There is more chaos in this society, in this culture, than ever before. This constantly reiterated discomfort and hatred for other people is again another indication that every year we might as well be prepared for the apocalyptic moment when the stars start to fall to the earth. You see, unless there is somebody who constantly monitors the mechanism that opens the door for this world to the other world, what happens is that something can happen to one of the doors and it closes up. When all the doors are closed, this earth runs out of its own orbit and the solar system collapses into itself. And because this system is linked to other systems, they too start to fall into a whirlpool, and the cataclysm would be amazing. Ask the Dogon tribe. They will tell you that. The Dogon, they're a tribe that understands this so well. It's amazing and mind-boggling. And it is a tribe that knows astrology like no other tribe that I have encountered. And the great astrologers of the Dogon are gay. They are gay. There's a dog planet that in its orbit is directly above the Dogon village every 58 years. Who knows that? But they're gatekeepers. So, let's continue into a second part. The ones called to the shamanic or shamanic path are humans who are able to access the world. They are called by the spirit to be the bridges between realities and balance, there to access helpful knowledge for their tribes. In the past, this has meant that the shamana or shamana, her himself, often blended between the worlds of female and male in their societal gender roles. For people who are reading this, those gender roles are in the process of blending for everyone now more than ever. Still, those who are called to the shamanic are often somehow in between the polarities of masculine and feminine energies. Whether called the third sex or two-spirit by different cultures, whether considered gay or bi or straight by society, one sex and gender are not the same. There is a whole complex world of blended spirit that is important to those called by the spirit world to shamanize. Cultural expressions. In Oman, you have Zenith. In Polynesia, you have Fafanin, the Samoan. In Fakaliti, you have the Tongan, etc., etc. You have in these different areas, you find evidence of these two spirit people. You find evidence of these what they call third genders, which are more related to a spiritual aspect. In southern Mexico, in many Zapoteci communities, third gender roles are often apparent. The Muxi are described as a third gender, biologically male but with feminine characteristics. They are not considered to be homosexuals, rather they are just another gender. Some will marry women and have families. Others will form relationships with men. Although it is recognized that these individuals have the bodies of men, they perform gender in a different manner than men. It is not a masculine persona, but neither is it a feminine persona that they perform, but in general, a combination of the two. So there's examples in Inca. There's the I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing this, but there's the Quariwarmi, which is men-woman shamans mediated between the symmetrically dualistic spheres of Andean cosmology and daily life by performing rituals that at times required same-sex erotic practices. There's in Siberia, you have the Chukchi, the soft men, or Yurakulao, were a category of biologically male shamans who adopted first female hairstyle, then female dress, and finally married males. And you have this on and on and on. In the ancient temples of Ishtar that stretch across the lands of Mesopotamia, which nowadays is Iraq, Kuwait, Syria, and the borderlands of Turkey and Iran, from at least 10,000 BC, the goddess, often known as Ishtar, was served by transgendered priests and priestesses. They were called Asinu, Kurgaru, Kulu, and the worship of Ishtar is deeply associated with eroticism and sacred sexuality. Some call it prostitution. Sex used to create spiritual connection. So you can go on and find this in different places. Throughout the ancient world, these traditions were pretty much kept intact. And now you're starting to understand why. They have a purpose and a focus. The purpose and focus was to keep the gateway open to the spiritual realm. Now I'm going to share with you, and I've done this before, but I'm going to share some of these quickly so we can get to some questions. I'm going quickly because I know there's going to be questions. And plus, I know there's other things people want to discuss since I missed last week. I had to take care of some things last week. So let's go over some list of androgynous or two-spirit deities, etc., etc. Okay? Amongst in Ghana, okay, you have Abrao, Aku, and Owl. Abrao is Jupiter, Aku's Mercury, and Owl's Moon. They're androgynous and transgender deities. In Hindu, you have the Agni, a serial androgyne. Okay? In Ghana, you have Amen, a bisexual deity of the planet Saturn. Amongst the Navajo, you have Dartani, corn beetle. Symbols of female generative power may be represented as male or female. Again, in Hindu, you have the Ardhanarari and Ardhanarshivara. Having problems pronouncing tonight for some reason, which are androgynous deity of the combination of the Shiva and Shakti energy in one. Again, in Hindu, you have the Arjun, lived for a year in disguise of a eunuch transvestite. He is vertically divided, half man, half woman. You have Aten in Kemet, which is considered an androgynous deity. You have Atar in South Arabia, which is an androgynous Venus, the morning star. Atum in Kemet sometimes is regarded as androgynous or bisexual. Baun Samdi sometimes is considered to be transgender deity. Let's see, Brahma. In one myth, Brahma becomes an androgynous, divides into a man and a woman who begets the race of mortals. Some aspects of Buddha is androgynous as well. Daksa in Hindus and androgynous that divided himself into male and female to produce daughters. You have Dan of in Dahomey or Benin, which is a bisexual rainbow serpent deity. At times, Erazuli or Zuli in Vudan can be related to androgyny or transgender. Ganesh or Ganesha can be androgynous. Gede Masaka is considered an androgynous assistant of Gede Nibu. Gede Nibu is an intersex deity of the dead. Hapi of Kemet is an androgynous deity. Hecate of Greco-Roman is honored by gender variant male priest called Semotatawu. Hermes is also considered androgynous and bisexual. Indra, bisexual transgender deity. Ast or Aset of Kemet was served by gay and transgender priests and priestesses. I can go on and on and on and on. The main point I bring this up for is because one thing I've noticed for years, and I'm talking about years walking and being around this conscious community bullshit, is that people tend to degrade something they're not familiar with or not knowing or not familiar with or afraid of people's sexual preferences. Malidoma made a very strong point. When you reduce people and take away their purpose, then you reduce them just to sexual orientation or sexual preferences. So you degraded groups of people who had power, strong power to keep the gates open, the gateway to communicate with the spirits, okay? To keep it open. I don't know if some of y'all have been at any bembes or drumming rituals or things of that nature. And when some of the spirits take over, it could be male, female, doesn't matter what the host body is. They can come in the opposite sex, and that individual who's a male all of a sudden has feminine traits and characteristics and will walk around with feminine traits and characteristics. You have to understand the spirits don't see gender, okay? The spirits can be androgynous, they can be anything because there is really no gender in the spirit realm. It is something of a human or earthly nature where we start to define gender, and thus with the gender comes all your definitions, your likes, dislikes, your things of that nature. So what's happening is you're taking and destroying people who have a purpose to keep the gates open, to be able to communicate with the spirits at will, stronger than ever, and you're destroying that, making it more difficult for some people to communicate with spirits. Some people have told me they have very have a lot of difficulty communicating or speaking with spirits. Whereas when I was younger, years ago, I remember it was easier sometimes to communicate with spirits. Now you're taking people in their high vibrational frequencies, you're destroying them, you're obliterating them, you're defaming them, you're doing all kinds of things, and you're making it, the vibrational levels of the planet is coming lower and lower at times. Now, people will tell you, oh, we're all going to a fifth dimension in the higher vibration, though. That's bullshit. That's not happening. If you pay attention, as much shit people are considering, oh, we're transforming, we're becoming so, enlightened and everything else, as much chaos is happening at the same time. You're also finding more murder. You're finding more random shootings and things of that nature going across the planet. Why? Because people are losing their way. They have no outlet to communicate. They have no outlet to express themselves. And you're taking people and making them feel guilty about things that they like, things that they want, things that they desire. And what happens is that they suppress that. Whenever you take somebody and you suppress them, eventually that's going to come to the top, and it's going to overflow and blow up in people's faces. And then you wonder why people randomly go into these places and shoot things up. Sure, I know the conspiracy theorists are going to say, oh, this is planned by, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Sounds nice, sounds dandy. But the point is, whatever patsy they use to execute already had issues and problems, which were easy to mind control these individuals to go do that, which eventually they might have done that themselves. Okay? The point is, it comes a point in time where people have to start paying attention. If we say we're spiritual, then we can't close our minds to this reality that is happening. We can't close our minds to the reality of what is being done spiritually to suppress groups of people across the planet, genders, races of people, things like that. What happens is you start to bring the level and the vibrational frequency of this planet low. So the people who have that power and ability, like y'all listening, have to start doing more work to raise their vibrational levels up and try to affect a change within their life, which hopefully create a chain reaction around people in their circle. So it becomes more difficult over time, but it is something that is happening and things that we have to address. When you are working with certain spirits in your own personal sacred space, and you call on a certain spirit, and the spirit comes down, or the energy comes down, and it has a androgynous spirit, it may be difficult for you to understand if you're set or closed-minded in your ways, meaning that you're set in, it can only be this, and this spirit can only manifest as this, or this energy frequency can only be interpreted as this. That happens, you're cutting off a whole stream of knowledge and understanding and wisdom that you could be acquiring, but because you're closed-minded, or you're to the point where you're very narrow-minded, you're not going to be able to obtain a lot of that knowledge and wisdom and understanding. This repeatedly happens over and over and over. Even people, and I will say this firsthand, even people who are in the left-hand path tend to be closed-minded too. Now, we're supposed to be challenging ourselves to break free from these limitations and the societal restrictions and things of that nature, but we tend to be closed-minded too. What happens is, now when you close your mind and you come across people who have these higher vibrational frequencies, but their gender is different than yours, you automatically cut yourself off from any knowledge or wisdom this person may be able to share with you, because you go back into this scared little self saying, oh, this person likes me, or they're going to hit on me because their sexual orientation is the gender I am. So I have to close myself off and completely run from this situation. Well, that's your disservice. You're doing that to yourself, and you're closing yourself off for what? because of programming, preconditioning, things of that nature. So what we have to start to do, if you choose to, I know what I do, is to start facing these aspects of yourself and start to realize in spirit, there is no gender. When it manifests into the physical, that's when we see gender. Don't close your mind off to the point where you're not able to receive the knowledge, the wisdom, and the power because you are limited in your mindset. So understand this aspect, whether you like this shit or not. A lot of this conscious crap is more Western based mentally than we really think it is. And if we're coming into the left-hand path with that mentality, then you're bringing it in and tainting your work from a preconceived or pre-notions or programmed notion from the conscious community, anything else. What first thing I had to learn when I came to the left-hand path is take everything I thought I knew and throw that shit away. Everything I thought I knew. And y'all know my story. I started walking the conscious path in 1988, 89. Walked that shit all the way to today and have not stopped 1 year for rest or anything. Non-stop through. And trust when I tell you, I had to go and explore my limitations and my borders and boundaries that were keeping me from reaching higher levels of consciousness, of vibration, or frequency. So understand when I'm telling you this because from my experience looking at it, I can see that what the services we do to ourselves. I can see what we do. We automatically think if I'm a man, let's say, and we're walking into Ifa, if I'm a man, that automatically I have to be Shango or some male Orisha. That's not always the case. There's a lot of males who are sons of Oshun, sons of Oya, sons of Yemaya, and things of that nature. So don't get it twisted. That doesn't make him homosexual or gay. That just means that frequency or vibration or that archetype is connected with an aspect of themselves that is being suppressed, not worked on, or needs to be focused on. So when we start to walk these paths, open your mind. Don't close your mind to any aspect that may be coming across from these lectures, from Beniti's lectures, from our rituals, from books you may read or things like that. Don't automatically put it down because it hurts your feelings or it comes up and it ruffles your feathers about something you believed all these years. Investigate, research, check it out. Go deeper into it. When I came across this information like 5 years ago, it startled me too. But I went deeper and started researching, investigating, finding out that this was true in the Native American tribes. This was true in African tribes. This was true in different tribes, indigenous tribes across the planet. Just because in our modern mind we can't accept something does not mean that it's not being done or being accepted and understood by others. So I wanted to make it quick and short for y'all because I know y'all probably going to have questions or you're going to discuss some other things. So what's good? Bring it, drop it, let it go, flow. What up? All right. Yes, Demetrius Clark, there is a lot of straight men that are crowned on Shul. I know plenty of them. All right. And they're very straight. But that feminine energy needed to be balanced out in their life. This is why the Orisha party came, because that crown, that aspect of themselves, the Ori, needed to be balanced in their life with the feminine energy of vibration and frequency. So this is what presents itself. It doesn't make you any less. Like, for example, I was initiated in Obatala, but there's certain aspects of Obatala where sometimes Obatala is considered androgynous. That doesn't change the fact that who I am, what my preferences are. It just, I learned to open my mind and see life for what it is and not divide and separate because I want to be so righteous and so correct and so superior to others because of my melanin or because I'm original, any of that. Look, all that shit is irrelevant today. For every Negro who tells me they're original, I'm gonna look at about 10 other Negroes who are suffering, going through crap, broke, and can't even get their life together. How is that working for you to know that we were original at one time, but you can't do nothing with it today? Wonderful. Yes, we're original. What are you doing about it? Okay? And don't tell me the white man is doing this, but then you call yourself God. If you're a God, how can the devil deceive you? You created God. So how the devil can deceive you? It doesn't make sense. But we justify it with stupidity all the time. So bring the questions and let's rip. Yes, the Heindel and Jonas, those gatekeepers are very similar in aspects to other gatekeepers. Okay. Wait, where is this one at? Janus is a Roman androgynous deity. Heindel, as well, at times was considered androgynous. So you have to understand, in different variations of the different gods, they all can manifest in different ways. All right, so Tan Rich, that's correct. We all have female and male hormones. Balance is the key. I'd rather say integration or harmony is the key. And there's a reason I say that. As some of y'all are familiar with this, balance to me is stagnant energy because the scales are just balanced, they're stagnant. Whereas if you integrate or harmonize, there's a flux and flow that allows you to expand and grow. All right. But that's just my personal thing from my personal understanding. All right, let me go over here. Well, tall and thin, 123. Let me say this. When you make a pact with Satan, Satanas, Shaitan, you're really making a pact with yourself. Because the archetype, the symbolism of Satan or Satan is an adversarial energy. When you become a god over self, or you become a person who takes control of their life, what essentially happens is you made a pact with yourself to be that adversary against society's programming, your family's programming, cultural programming, things of that nature. So that pact, essentially, in my understanding, is made more with yourself, with the symbolism of the archetype Satan being the one that we feel we made the pact with. I'll say that. Now, like I said, it doesn't just have to be about this topic. I missed last week. I'm here now. So if there's anything else y'all want to bring up, we can do that too. So it just doesn't have to be about this topic. This is y'all time to ask questions. Let's get it. This is y'all time. Duma, what up? I wanted to make the lecture part quick and short for this particular reason. Not yet, Shamanic Mystic. And it's been a minute. I haven't seen you in a second. But anyways, no, I haven't. I'm actually going to get around to it. But I'm finishing up other shows on Netflix like Van Helsing. I'm finishing up the originals, which the originals really in depth and shows some connections in New Orleans between, different bloodlines, different spiritual systems. If you look past, how they Hollywoodize it, and then I'm gonna get around to finishing The Magicians. Then I'm gonna get to watching that. All right, Chris, I get it done. Comment on mantras. Some more, please. All right, Chris, I get it done. Om mantras. Listen, essentially every mantra usually begins with Om in one shape, form, or fashion. Om is essentially the primordial sound of the universe. It's the primordial sound of creation. So a lot of mantras begin with the Om because you're emanating the primordial sound of creation. So when you're doing a mantra, you're causing the vibrations and frequencies to bring antimatter into matter to manifest into a physical reality. In other words, vocalization plus visualization equals materialization. That is the science of mantras. Vocalization, you're vocalizing, you're doing the mantra, whether it's Om Namah Shivaya, okay, utilizing the Shiva energy. My phone tripping. It thought I was talking to it and whatever. Anyways, Om Namah Shivaya, okay? Om is primordial sound. You're causing the frequencies and vibrations of the destroyer, Shiva, to destroy aspects of your life that no longer need to be there, to create a new self for whatever purpose you see fit. That's what essentially a mantra is. You vocalize, and while you're doing this, you're visualizing what results you want. Then that frequency, that tone, that vibration causes antimatter to come into matter, manifesting or materializing itself. But your visualization is important because that's your intention, that's your desire. So those three equals what it is. Vocalization plus visualization equals materialization. All right? So understand this when you're working with the spirits, when you're working with your rituals, when you work in any of these things, it's you first you have to understand you vocalize. This is whether it's a mantra, whether it's a ritual, you're doing an invocation or evocation, you're vocalizing, you're always vocalizing. You should be able to vocalize your desired intent out loud. Out loud. Okay? If you're not able to vocalize it out loud, then there's something about you that's scared to even hear what you want or you desire outwardly. If you're not able to vocalize it, then you need to really focus on why you can't vocalize it, yo. Seriously. Like, you really need to be like, yo, why can't I vocalize this shit? Are you afraid to hear yourself say it? Are you afraid to hear yourself say that you want to fly like an eagle, or you want to dance with a dog, or whatever the hell freaky crazy crap or whatever thing you're thinking of? Are you afraid to hear yourself say it? Because if you are, then you're not really going to materialize it. Okay? You should be able to say it with power and focus what you really want out loud without no regards to who hears it and care about what they think. Okay? Then visualize what you're saying. Don't just say it and not really be able to visualize it in great detail. Okay, let's say, for example, you want a new car. You vocalize, I want a new car. That's good. But the second part is visualize what exact car do you want. You know how many cars there are out there? If you're not visualizing with great detail and emphasis, well, you could get a car and it could be a fucking bucket, okay? It could be a torn apart, falling apart car. You didn't specify. So, okay, I want a new car. Visualize and say, I want a new car that's a Dodge Challenger 2017, 2018, brand new, no miles or less than this miles, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you don't do that, then you're half-assing it. Then what do you expect that result to come from? Huh? You're half-assing it. So you don't expect any results. Shannon Jackson, that's good. A lot of spirits that I make contact with as well as androgynous, and which is good because a lot of times that means you're getting past the physical gender aspect as a human being, so the spirits can present themselves more as what they are and not what you need to see them as. Key point, remember that. More as what they are and not what you or I need to see them as. So when you see a lot of androgynous spirits, that's good. So this is very important to understand. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Shamanic Mystic. The original is my shit too. I'm on season 3 at the beginning. So anybody who's seen it, do not give me no spoilers, ruin some shit, because I want to finish that because now they have a new show. I forgot the damn name of it, but Hope, the little girl's actually grown up. So they added a new show to that. So I'm curious to get there. But anyways, all right, their dark light, their jobs would be the same as in the past. They were gatekeepers, so they would be something like a shaman, a shaman. They would be your mediums. They would be your witches. Okay, they would be um, your wizards or sorcerers. They would be any of those things, but they've been taken away from that. So now they just become more a group that's looked upon with disdain because they look upon as having overly sexual energy. See, this is what happens when you take people away from their purpose. Okay? You take people away from their purpose, they have no purpose. So they end up just freestyling and doing the things they do. But see, the thing is with that energy, those gatekeepers have creative energy. So this is why you have musicians that are gatekeepers. This is why you have artists that are gatekeepers and things like that. It's because they'll find a way to channel that. You understand? That's what they're doing now. They're channeling that energy to the best way they can. But you're taking them away from their spiritual connection, which is the gateway for the spirits to come in and out, the energies to come in and out. Okay, that's the purpose that they've been taken away from. So you got to understand, when you take people and you defeat that purpose in them, you give them no hope. They're going to find an outlet. Okay, and sometimes the outlet can be something that's positive or something that turns out negative in their life, however they view it. Okay, Duma, check this out. When you put your altar, for those who didn't see it, I have a video up on my altars, my wife's and I's altar up there, okay? And what you have to look upon and understand is, on the left-hand path, there is no exact way to do it. There's your way. But what is suggested is that you work with similar energy. The Luciferian energy is very similar to the vampiric energy. They both, one main principle stands out in the Luciferian and the vampiric energy. You know what that is? You are the God. You are the God that creates your life or destroys your life. So yes, you can have the Luciferian aspect down there. This is why I have Lilith on my wall in the back. Okay? This is why I put Lilith up there, because she represents that female or demonic feminine adversarial energy. Okay? I have the vampire on the statue, which to me is kind of the Luciferian vampiric energy, which represents the male adversarial aspect. So yes, you can do that, but are they related? Are the energies related? So in other words, my altar is mostly necromantic vampiric energy, which some Luciferians practice vampiric because the principles are very similar. So my altar has mostly necromantic vampiric energy all across the board, okay, with Luciferian aspects in there. So yes, you can connect those the way you see fit on your altar. So like I said, during the week, for those who came in later, go back and watch that video. I put it up last night. During the week, I'm going to perform a Kali ritual. I'm going to record it. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it live through my camera and not through the computer. One day I'll figure it out. But I'm going to do a ritual with Kali, a Kali ritual. So some of y'all can get an idea of working the left-hand path ritual, especially if you're not able to attend some of the rituals in South Florida. This is going to give you an idea on how to, possibly get some ideas to spark your own rituals. Okay. All right. I just saw Woke Media's question. My bad, bro. Or sis. What kept me on the path all these years? The knowledge. Wait. The quest for knowledge and power. Power to be the God over myself. Power to be the master over myself. And the knowledge and wisdom is what kept me seeking it. See, because a lot of us, when we start out, we believe that there's some great secret. There isn't a great secret in all of this. The greatest secret is you are the God. And you, as the God, have the power to either create or destroy your life. So that quest kept me going until I found the answer. Now that I found the answer, I'm out here sharing it with individuals who want to learn it. You're the God, and you have the ability to create or destroy anything in your life, so long as you take responsibility for everything in your life. You can't be a God and blame somebody externally for your decisions that led you down a path of either greatness or misery. You chose that. So that's what kept me on the path all these years, and that's what still keeps me going. Okay, acquiring all this knowledge, learning. Listen, I walked the Islamic path, Christian path, the Hebraic path, Freemasonry. I walked Rosicrucianism. I walked Ifa. Okay, on and on and on and on. Walked many various paths and still walking some of these paths. Okay, and still gaining knowledge and the wisdom that comes with it, which leads to power over self. So this is what keeps me going even after all these years. All right, let's see. Legacies, that's what it is, Shamanic Mystic. Legacy. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna watch soon. All right. Listen, Warlock, Witch, Wizard, they're basically all the same. Now, people give them different definitions, but they're basically all the same. So let's see what the good old dictionary says what a warlock is. All right. A man who practices witchcraft or sorcery. Then they have synonyms: sorcerer, wizard, a male witch, black magician, diviner, occultist, enchanter, necromancer, on and on and on. Essentially, it's still a witch. Essentially, it's still a sorcerer. Essentially, it's a magician. It's just what they determine or add to being a male who practices witchcraft. It's all BS because it's still the same crap. All right, silver and gold. All right, let me say this. Silver is one of the most powerful metals you can utilize in your rituals. Also, colloidal silver is good to utilize for health aspects. Gold, also one of the most powerful metals. They both conduct a lot of energy. Okay, that's what one of the main important things to understand is why the individuals in Kemet use, especially the Per-Oz or Per-Oz or the pharaohs, they use a lot of gold was because it helps conduct energy, and they wanted to keep themselves at a higher vibrational level all the time. Is it a coincidence why a lot of us like to wear trunk jewelry up the ass sometimes? These big duku, ropes and anyways, this is one of the reasons why it's still there and manifests throughout different aspects of ourselves. That's why some of us still wear it, but we don't even realize it is because it became a fashion thing or to be seen or a symbol of wealth. So this is one of the reasons. Okay. Crystals. On my website, serpentcrystals.com. The crystals that I have on there are the crystals that are best utilized for working dark magic, necromancy, more left-hand path aspect of sorcery or magic. Okay, those such as Numite. So my mind's going blank. These crystals help absorb and conduct energy and help release energy. Okay, I utilize some of these crystals to work with the jinn. Okay, I utilize this to work with the jinn, but you could use it in any way you see fit. That's the thing. Some of us don't know what our purpose is anymore. You discover that through a lot of work. Okay. Hold on. Okay, you discover that through a lot of ritual work. Some reading sometimes can show that. And you'll discover this eventually along the line. Okay? The thing is, that you have to do the work to discover what your purpose is. If it's a gatekeeper, you will discover that and you will see that you had traits of that all your life. Understand this. A gatekeeper is essentially a spiritual thing. It's not so much a gender thing. Let me clarify again. It's a spiritual thing, meaning you could be a male but have strong feminine vibrational energy and frequency inside you. Okay? That can sometimes lead you to be attracted to the same sex or not even be attracted and still be attracted to the opposite sex. But you have a strong feminine vibrational energy and vice versa for a female. That strong vibrational energy allows you to open up the gateways to see interdimensionally, meaning to be able to communicate with spirits who vibrate in the astral realm and higher. Okay? What happens is if you don't have contact with that part of yourself or you're afraid of it, if you don't have that aspect of yourself alive, you kind of walking around aimlessly. So that's the main purpose, is to find out your purpose, but you have to do a lot of intense work. You have to do a lot of introspection. You have to go inward to discover these things. And you're going to have to be able to shake loose some of your blockages and repressions and suppressions and things of that nature. Can you really be that honest with yourself? Who knows? You have to be able to do the work to find out. But the purpose is you have a focus. Your job is to discover it. Okay? Discover that purpose in your life of what your focus is. Like, if you watch certain shows like the originals, things like that, people sometimes discover that, oh, this might have been my purpose my whole life. And others are upset that they were turned into this life of a vampire, let's say. So you gotta find that within yourself and look within yourself to really see it. Tan Rich, it may mean that you are. I couldn't tell you. There is ways to discover that in rituals and things like that. If you, let's say you come to a ritual in South Florida and you connect and the spirit comes through, okay, depending on the spirit, you may be able to see, okay, yeah, I am connected to that. I may have that attribute or ability to be a gatekeeper. Real quick, come on, baby. Stop being shy. I'm trying to get my wife to say hi to y'all, but she wants to be shy here. Anyways, what a wuss. Anyways, so you may have that ability, or you may have that purpose in your life, but you're gonna have to really do a lot of rituals, readings, or things like that to discover that. Okay. The one way to find that out is when you work your rituals, try to work with some of these androgynous deities I just mentioned. If you want a list of them, when I put my email address here at the end, I'll email you that list for people who want the androgynous deities. All right, y'all. Hello, real quick.
Hello.
Come here and say hello. That's my wifey right there, y'all. Everybody say hi. Hi. All right. So that's one of the ways, Tan Rich, all right, to do that. If you see, I keep seeing people I don't know, like they're trying to pass through me to get to other mentors. Yeah, sometimes you can be a medium. That could be a gatekeeper, more so of a medium where spirits are trying to get in and out that really are not supposed to be here or shouldn't be here. Okay, so you're gonna have to really do some work to figure that out, Tan Rich, because some spirits try to sneak through here. That's what a gatekeeper's purpose was as well as to keep certain spirits out of here. They're not supposed to be here. All right, so understand that. She came real quick to say hi, so y'all see that she's not a mystery or some spook deity. She's real. So I just wanted y'all to see that who she is, and from time to time she'll come here and she may talk. But we both walk this left-hand path, as y'all saw her altar yesterday. We work it. All right, we both work this path, and our every day we get manifestations and results to improve our lives every day. Every day we deal with our shadow self and overcome a lot of our issues and problems. We work on that together and separately. So we elevate to a whole nother level doing that. All right. All right, y'all. Hit me with more questions. And yeah, Chris, I get it done. It's serpentcrystals.com. That's correct. Serpentcrystals.com. That's correct. Check that out. I have all those crystals there sitting there waiting for y'all. Bunch of other stuff. The vampiric stuff. The vampiric oils is amazing for y'all who really want to get on the vampiric magic. The oils are amazing. Really helping your rituals. Kali oil, amazing. All right. So, any other questions, y'all? Hit me up. Questions. All right, y'all. Hit me with the questions, man. All right, while y'all thinking of questions, let me say this. Next week's lecture, live lecture, is going to be necromancy again. Okay? But this time we're going to speak more about how to honor the dead. Honor them. Okay? Best ways to honor them in your work. Um, all right, Duma, that's an excellent question. How important is it to find someone who can vibe with you on this path from your perspective? Okay, it's an addition of beauty, power, and blessing. Okay, now do you have to? No, but it's only makes it stronger and better in your work when you have somebody walking a path with you who can motivate you and you can motivate them and you can stay focused together on the purpose and goal of why you're here. Not why, okay? Not I should say why you're here and what your focus is. That's the main blessing of that. I'll say it like that. That's the main blessing of that. To work it, to walk it together. Okay. So that's really why I would say it would be a blessing. It'd be more beneficial to you. And Necrocanon, I knew you were going to say yes to necromancy, but we're going to go into it. Okay. So let me say this. All right, Tan Rich, have you ever seen a masculine energy that looks like Assassin's Creed? I got the feeling I traveled somewhere I shouldn't have been. Um, that's it. Could have been a jinn. I could say that a jinn that came in the form of an assassin or Arab spirit. That could have been a jinn. Some jinn are very against humans, so I'll say that. And thank you, Andre Pope. Yes, she is beautiful, and I feel sometimes I need to do these kind of lectures because trust, I walked this for so many years, like I said earlier, and I see the ignorance on such a closed-minded level. Like you're supposed to be getting more knowledge, more wisdom, but people seem to get more closed-minded as they become conscious. Everything is an attack on someone else. Who the hell? Listen, I sometimes on my Instagram, I could pull that like right now. I bet you I could go onto Instagram right now and show you the stupidity of what people say or do. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Okay, I'm gonna find these people that just talk nonsense on here. And right now, everybody wants to be a witch on fucking Instagram. Everybody's a witch. Everybody's a fucking tarot card reader. It's unbelievable, dude. Anyways, I can't find the fool. All right, so Jack Charles. Oh shit. The party's just begun, y'all. Jack Charles is in the house, y'all. Party is officially on, y'all. Everybody say hello to Jack Charles. Y'all familiar with Jack from Coming to Rituals in South Miami? That's a good brother, master drummer. When he bangs them drums, boy, causes vibrations and frequencies. Now, okay, now Andre Pope, get this right. Here's what's funny. They say, a lot of these fools will say cultural appropriation, right? We've heard this term before, right? Cultural appropriation. All right, my good brother Shamanic Mystic just connected with me on Instagram. I'm following you too, brother. But anyways, so cultural appropriation is the big thing in the conscious community now, right? Don't use other people's culture. But here's what's funny. I done heard some of these conscious coon idiots rail on Latinos, but yet they're using the word brujo and bruja, which comes from Spanish, which is adapted and utilized in the Latin community. Isn't that fucking straight cultural appropriation there too? But it's okay because the original people are doing it. You understand? So it's not okay for the mixed Latinos to do it. Stupid ass shit. You see the stupidity and the ignorance behind all that? This is why when you really walk this path, left-hand path, you get past all that racial crap, all that racial divide, and you understand it's about you yourself becoming the God. Okay? And you're going to get the knowledge from whoever, wherever, whenever, and however you can, from regardless what race a person or group of people, you're going to get that knowledge and wisdom for you to empower yourself from whoever is in your midst. Okay? You ain't just going to say, oh no, I'm going to put this person aside because they're not original. They're half original, so I'm not going to deal with them. Or, no, let me put this person to the side because they're not totally, with me and my people. Listen, man, screw all that. That's right, Jack. It's about people seeing them do the work to those individuals. Listen, all this is just real silliness, y'all. But the bottom line is, if you have a purpose, you manifest that purpose. Like, I'll give you an example. My good brother Jack Charles, one of his purposes is to be that master drummer. When his okay, they were when he hits it, you feel it. Okay, when he hits them drums, the tones and vibrations he hits, people have caught spirits. I've witnessed it. Some of y'all have witnessed it too. That's one of his purposes. He has other purposes that he's discovering every day. Okay, but he's empowering himself by his path and what he's choosing to do to become that. So Jack is more than just a drummer, but that's one of his purposes. So everybody here has to find their purpose, regardless who likes it or not, regardless if it fits into their nice little box of their conscious coon crap or not. Your purpose is to discover that and create your own rituals, your own purpose, your own understanding of that purpose, how you see fit, and it doesn't have to fit into anybody's neat description. Okay? It doesn't have to fit into any of that. This is why I posted on Instagram, for those who are friends on Instagram. My name there is Ravana Noon. This is why I posted the results of doing rituals on the left-hand path. Listen, I needed new transportation. But before I got the transportation, I wanted to make sure that I worked on myself, clearing away my obstacles, my blockages, my pain, wounds, trauma, all those things, so that when I manifested the vehicle of my choice, not only was I manifesting the vehicle, I hardly have to make any payments on that vehicle because I worked and opened the path to receive what was necessary to make that happen. Okay? This is what is discovering your purpose and learning how to work your purpose and receiving from your purpose. All right? Andre Pope, that's 100, 100, 100. They'll read all these books written by European people. Even the Egyptian stuff they read, a lot of it's from European people. Here's what's funny, y'all. You really want to hear what's funny? I know a lot of y'all know who Ra'u Nephra-Men is, right? The author of the Meta Netter books, right? You can go into his books, and he'll talk negative about Rosicrucians. Overall, he's talking negative about Rosicrucian, things like that. But yet he'll have verbatim information that he copied from the temple degrees of the Rosicrucian order. So this means this fool walked the Rosicrucian order, although he dissed it, okay? Told people, screw them white people and what they about, and then he used that same information to get his own people down with him. Straight hypocrisy, straight stupidity, okay? How do people know this? Because those who are Rosicrucians on those temple degrees can see where he took that information. But yet he'll diss the Rosicrucians. So this just shows you the ignorance, y'all. Dr. Yorkie Porky from the Nuwapian bullshit, okay, plagiarized 90% of his books from other people's information. 90% of that was from Caucasian people. But put a nice little toast. He toasted the information until the toast came out darker. So it became essentially Caucasian information or Caucasian research information painted over by darkness, dark-skinned people, dark-skinned that. But yet most of the information he took was from Caucasian archaeologists, scientists, and things of that nature. Then try to pass it off as his own words. This is what people do in the conscious community over and over and over. You have other groups of people support this, do this, do this. And then you come to find out they ain't done nothing with the money you donated to these people for what you got to understand. This is why essentially it's about you becoming a god over self, mastering self, and being the best part of you that you can be. Don't wait until it's too late. You have the opportunity to be the master over self and take control over yourself now. You don't make excuses for your bullshit. You own up to them and be responsible for them. You don't make excuses and point the finger at somebody externally because you failed or because you didn't get your way. You take responsibility and own that shit. That's what's really walking the left-hand path, is being a god, being the god over yourself and realizing I don't need to worship external things to be that god. Okay? You don't, on the left-hand path, you don't ever have to work with an archetype if you don't choose to. You don't need to work with any archetype if you don't choose to, because you still will remain a god. The one fact is you still are the god. So whether you choose to work with archetypes or not, listen, Uncle Setnak said it best. He said the goal eventually is to get to the point where you need no rituals, no altars, or anything like that, where you become the walking ritual and altar, where every part of your life is a ritual, where every moment of your life is a ritual that you are working and bringing and manifesting into a reality, working it at that moment. That is what the whole purpose is not to still have XYZ up on your altars. If you choose to, that's all good. I'm not dissing that. What I'm saying is the purpose is to get past that. Right now, the only, let's see, I have Ampu, I have Kali, and Set. That's the only three archetypes I have on my altar. Everything else is skulls, is coffins, is tombstones, because I work a lot with necromancy and the spirits of that have deceased. I'm getting further and further away from working with archetypes and being the archetype, being the god. Do you understand? I'm getting further away from all of that. to become and embody the very things we learned about these gods and goddesses, these archetypes. That's the purpose for this work. Your ultimate purpose is to get away from anything external to be the walking God. This is why Luciferian is so important. After we go over necromancy next week, we're going to go into Luciferian again for certain aspects for a little while, okay? We're going to hit other topics too. But you have to understand, you got to get to that point where you no longer need any external objects, meaning gods or goddesses. You should be working in that direction, because so long as you have something external that you look upon, even as an archetype, somewhere in your mind, you're still looking at it as something greater than you, or some symbolism that possibly is greater than you, and you are still looking at it as, I'm not there yet. But guess what? A lot of y'all may be there, but you're still holding on to something external and not realizing that. Okay? That's the purpose of working this, is getting to that point. So am I there completely? No, I would be a liar if I told you I was. But I'm working towards that. That's why I only have 3 archetypes left on my altar. Because eventually all the symbols are going to be the symbols of necromancy, or the spirits of the deceased, and communication with the deceased as guides to obtain knowledge and wisdom from that realm to this realm. That's it. Otherwise than that, everything else is going to be based upon myself, my power, my direction, my intention, and my will. If my will is not strong, then I will always easily be swayed by somebody outside of myself. Your will has to be strong to dictate and control your life. It has to be strong. When I do this Kali ritual, I'm going to show y'all, when I do that video during the week, I'm going to also make a video for the God self on showing you how to direct your God self every morning to guide your life throughout the day as your God self. Not Kali, oh help me, not whoever. Dambala, help me, or whoever. It's you, and how to call on the higher self, the power of yourself, your true self, to direct and guide your life every day. Shamanic mystic, that's 100. That's 100. You work with the energy of nature. You work with the current of nature, the current of life and death, the death current. You work on that. And your ancestral connection. That's all you really need. It's all you really need. Work and you creating your own statues and selling it. That's your work, your creative energy, manifesting results and bringing it forth. That's the purpose, bro. Keep working that. Jack Charles is 100%. It becomes more a mental art. Couldn't say it better myself. So I'm not going to say it better myself. I'm going to say what Jack said. Mental art. What did the 7th principle of Tahuti or Hermes say? All is mind, right? All is mind. Mind is all. Everything is mental. So if that's the case, then if we really understand that everything is mental, then we understand as a Tahuti, the aspect of divine knowledge, intellect, wisdom, that we should all strive to be as a Tahuti, let's say, masters of our own minds, masters of our own knowledge and wisdom, then we understand that everything begins in the mental and is created from the mental. So then we understand that what? I create and destroy everything in my life from beginning to end. And the minute I start taking responsibility and I start today, not tomorrow, the quicker I can create the life I see instead of dreaming about the life I want. Okay? Understand these simple facts about your life, and you're going to get there. You're going to get there eventually. You will get there. Okay? It takes is dedication. Dedication on your craft, dedication on your work. Listen, I'm going to give you an example right now. All you can listen, I'm going to keep it real basic and simple. All you would need, honestly, is your mind. And what I mean by that is if you learn to meditate, not just this fluffy ass meditation, I'm talking about introspective, aggressive meditation, not passive meditation. Okay? But passive meditation has its moments. Okay? Proper breathing, proper exercise, proper healthy eating. Strengthen that mind every day. Practice mental exercise every day. And you could get there without even doing rituals. Now, this may sound blasphemous to some of y'all, but the reality is you can get there just through the power of your mind. You can get to the next level just by being in your mind and making that mind as powerful as possible. You can get there without ever performing a ritual in your life if you learn the power of your mind and how to really manifest things mentally. Okay? But unfortunately, a lot of individuals don't want to give you that. So I just share with y'all, it starts with every morning you wake up. When you, before your feet hit the ground, create your intention for the day and visualize it for the day. And watch how it goes. Before your feet hit the ground from your bed or sofa, wherever you sleep, make your intention and visualize your day before it even hits the ground and see how it goes. And you're going to see how you have magical powers without even doing a full-blown ceremonial ritual. The ritual is in your mind, and you're creating it as you go along the day. Indeed, Jack Charles, priorities. You got to have priorities. If you don't have priorities, you just I don't understand how you could go through life without priorities. You got to make your priorities and put them in a level of what's more important, the top priority on down. On which topic, Katil? Okay, on the mind, mental manifestation, power of mental magic. Sure, I could do a whole class on that. I'll do a whole class on that. As a matter of fact, let me write it in my phone so I can do it after the necromancy and Luciferian part. All right, topics. All right, got it. So next 3 weeks, necromancy next week, Luciferianism next the following week, and then mental magic. That's the next 3 classes. That's 100, Jack. Think about even someone who's paralyzed and starts walking again. Think about yourself as an individual, all of us. Think about ourselves. You're feeling sick. You feel like you're starting to get under the weather. You either give in to that feeling or your mind is strong enough to say, I'm stronger than this. I'm not getting sick. See, because the minute you say you're getting sick, your mind you just program your mind to accept all the symptoms and start feeling like shit. So if you say, I'm feeling great, I'm overcoming, or I'm stronger, or whatever you feel, whatever words of power you feel to say, you watch how you minimize the effects of that which is coming on. Just practice it, do it, and see how it works. See how it works. I guarantee you'll start seeing results when you start shifting your mind from thinking in the weak, thinking in the negative, or thinking in the the detractive side and start adding to your life, start seeing it manifesting, guarantee you'll see the difference in your life. Without all this ceremonial magic, you'll start to see. The goal is to eventually get there. Okay? Get to the point where you don't need anything external, where you become the walking ritual, you become the walking ceremony. All right, any other questions before I close this off? Again, like I said, look out during the week. I'm going to show you how to do a Kali ritual. For those who are not able to make it to the rituals, there's certain examples you'll see that will spark your own creative energy to create certain rituals for yourself. Some of y'all may not know how to go about doing left-hand path rituals. So this will be an aspect to let you see. Also, any information you can study on necromancy before Sunday, check it out so you can present or bring forth some questions on there. All right. And then the following week, we'll do Luciferianism. And the week after that, we'll do the power of the mind and mental magic. All right. So any other last questions before we close this off? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times later. Watch. I'm about to close off. Yep, there it goes. I knew the question was coming right before I closed off. Okay, Sir Noble 32. Keep that question for next week. Gateways openings for necro work. Next week's class is necromancy. So bring that question up next week because we're going to go in depth into that same exact question. I don't want to answer it now because next week that's the whole focus. So I apologize. I don't give you the answer for this week. Bring that same question next week because we're going to do an in-depth class on necromancy. And if it goes 1 part or 2 parts, so be it. We're going to go in-depth class on necromancy. All right? So that we can really get in depth into that. Because I understand a lot of y'all want to work with spirits. It is a part of our genetic makeup, especially as melanated people. The connection to our ancestors, to spirits, is strong. So we're going to go in depth into that and really, really start working some of that level there. For those who missed the video I put out there last night about the altars, check it out. I did that for a reason, so you can see when I do the ritual during the week, you'll get a little idea, understanding what I'm working on and what energy I'm coming from. All right, Jack, you do that. You hit me up tomorrow, brother. Hit me up. All right? All right, y'all. About to close off. Peace. Check y'all next week.